Democracy is an odd and honorable institution already discussed and practiced. Asian grants it has its up and down over the countries it checks by giving former serfs and women the right to vote. But democracy is less dynamic. For example, the European Union, which of course claimed to be democracy, it was considered a further development of 21 country democracy ID. Rather, it's reflects a major return to the rules of professional politics, opening the ranks of the European Commission and other executive bodies. And the European Parliament countries are not taking it seriously. The challenge of the digital world is an entirely different form of information discussion. Voting. This contribution focuses on direct public participation in political activities. This process may be further developed with success in the future. Reckoning there have been failed attempts on existing democracy. Brand is the author of Anti-Democracy or Van Reed book is the author of book Against Electric for Democracy.
Democratic voting rights have been suggested in the context of co-determination for all kinds of organizations. This includes incorporated companies in which traditionally the voting rights are proportional to the number of stock held. FOCG are proposed to emerge due to the demands of the citizens to deal with problem and result in a web of democratic institutions covering many different fields. This extension of democracy to new areas, areas have been extensively dealt with in the literature and therefore need not be further discussed here. A basic idea of democracy is that people being affected by political negation have to say that another group of resources or one variable voting makes would make sense are the many commuters traveling at working day from their home and uh, to suburb or in the countryside to the city where they work. Their voting may called the split half-half between where they have their home and where they work. So they have all voting right in the former and no voting right in the latter, but are stronger affected by the political division in the political unit where they work.
Several important popular referendums have resulted in narrow majorities. A pertinent example is the vote known under the name Brexit, which took place in the United Kingdom in June 2016. It may be argued that it's unfair and perhaps even undemocratic to have such a small numbers of voters, sometimes only some thousand citizens, to decide important issues affecting all the electorate and people living in the country. The higher the required majority, the more difficult it is to introduce changes in politics. The society is getting increasingly conservative and fossilist. The desires of a possibly large majority wanting change are disregarded.
Okay, so for the next material is the true democracy by random decisions. So back then, Aristotle claimed that a true democracy cannot be based on voting. Rather, a random or aleatoric choice must guarantee that private interest by important families and today political parties and interest groups are checked. This procedure has functioned surprisingly well in classical Athens and some other ancient Greek cities, as well as prosperous in North Italian cities in the Middle Ages. So, how does random decisions work? In Venice, the number of possible contenders was first reduced by a vote, then by a random draw, thereafter by a vote, a random draw, until only one person was left to be the Doge. This procedure can also be applied in some form of politics. The first one is issue of content. So lot can decide the outcome of a popular referendum with the weights given by the vote shares. This procedure is standard in many political contexts when there is an equal number of voters for and against a proposition. Then, normally, a coin is flipped in order to determine the winner. This procedure has the advantage that the size of majority is taken into account, which is not the case when the simple majority rule is applied. And the second one is elections into political bodies. Part of the parliament may be decided by a random draw from the whole population in order to guarantee true representativeness. Or one of the chamber of parliament may be chosen wholly by that procedure. The majority advantage of a random procedure in politics is to guarantee equal chance and therewith fairness given by the underlying body. So each and everyone in the underlying population has an equal chance of getting elected. But sadly, in contrast, today's parliaments are far from representing the electorate. Professional, professional politicians, with their special interest, dominate the scene. The disadvantage of random decision in politics is that capabilities, education, and the intensity of desire are disregarded. So this is the main reason why a random decision in politics are rarely, if ever, taken from the population as a whole.
This paper makes 9 concrete proposals worthy of consideration for future democracy. 1. The right of direct participation can be extended to areas outside of politics. 2. The right of direct participation can be extended to functional political units or FOCG. 3. Non-citizens can be granted rights partial vote. 4. Citizens living in other countries may lose their right to vote in their country of origin if they have lived abroad for a long time. 5. Commuters can have half the vote weight where they live and work. 6. Older people can have a higher voting weight than younger people according to constitutional decisions. 7. The closer the results of a people's referendum are, the stronger the representatives of opposing parties are involved. 8. The results of popular opinion can be decided by lot. 9. Random withdrawal from the underlying population can be coupled with elections. Clearly, the proposals don't necessarily go well with each other, but it's hoped that each of them can fruitfully be used in some parts of the political realm.